Am I the asshole for spending $45,000 of my husband and I's money to collect a $5,000 judgment from my ex? The only good thing about my 45F ex-boyfriend is that he's the dad of my 2 kids, 16F, 13F. We split 10 years ago, never married. I started a wedding planning business shortly after we got together and hired him as an office manager. That is when the full force of his narcissism came to light. Basically, he lied about his previous work experience, treated the credit card I gave him for business expenses as his own piggy bank, flirted with other women, was a destructive, vindictive employee. I will take responsibility. I jumped into owning my business and made mistakes, did not know what was important or how to strategize. The business went bankrupt and our relationship blew up. I sued him for property destruction and conversion, basically the civil version of saying he stole from me, among other things. He humiliated me by saying I was sexually harassing him. I was eventually awarded an amount that is around $5,000 today, factoring interest. I thought I won because he had filed bankruptcy before and could not for many years. He then started this game of chicken with me and I felt like I needed justice, especially because the cops refused to charge him for all he's done. He has been whack-a-mole ever since. At first, he would quit jobs once we found out he was working there. He worked under the table for a while, lived off another girlfriend, and then moved to a state where you couldn't garnish wages. I have spent countless hours with expensive lawyers first fighting the case, which he dragged out. Plus, on chasing him around, throwing around subpoenas, my ex has since developed a false sense of security and had been working openly. I told my husband I wanted to get him to pay up before he files bankruptcy or spends all his money. He was upset because outside of the first $10,000 I spent fighting this, $25,000 was our money. But legally, if I could just get my ex, I'd get collection costs out of him. After I put down a $5,000 retainer, my ex quit his job and I realized we needed a PI to help gather information. The retainer has all been spent. I get this sounds insane, but it is the principle for me. Made years of my life horrible. Yet my previously supportive husband said that I, one of the heads of our household, and every leader has to understand war is expensive and at times the cure is worse than the disease. He said my ex will never make me financially whole and that he did not want our money to keep funding this. I was furious and we lapsed into a screaming match and asked him to leave for the night. I could not believe he was withdrawing support. We make $80,000 a year, are frugal, but what was the point of money if it wasn't used for the things we value? But now the investigation was bearing fruit. But I just wrote another check for $5,000 and anticipate having to write a third one. The check's funds came from transferring from our savings account. My husband is furious for that and said I was setting a bad example for the girls. Am I the asshole for needing justice for the pain he caused me? You're the asshole. You really wrote all of that down and you don't realize you're the asshole. That's the part that got me. We make $80,000 a year, are frugal, but what was the point of money if it wasn't used for the things we value? What value is there in throwing away money just to gain $5K when the expenses are $45? You can't be serious. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm laughing a lot, but I read that. This is my genuine reaction to the story. I didn't read it through before I started narrating. So she's so fucking dumb, bro. Her and her husband, they're not financially compatible. She's okay with throwing away $45,000 plus just to get back $5,000. She's hypocritical. I'm gonna tell you why. Because she calls her ex vindictive. I'm pretty sure vindictive, I think it means what I think it means. Hold on. All right. Vindictive. Having or showing a strong or unreasoning desire for revenge. Does that not explain OP? She's vindictive as hell. She's just throwing away money for no reason. Let's read some comments. I highly doubt I'm gonna see any NTAs. You're the asshole. Laugh my ass off. Wasting $45,000 plus to go after 5K. No wonder your business failed. The two of them, make $80K a year. She wasted almost 60% of that going after this deadbeat. And even if she was able to make him responsible for the fees, how? You can't get blood out of a rock. OP says it's the principal for her, but she's wasting more than half of a year's pay of their money for her principal. Just let it go. Girl, you're the asshole. Yes, OP, bear in mind that you're giving your ex everything a narcissist could want. Your time, effort, financial sacrifice, attention, and a long, sustained, intense emotional reaction. You are losing to him regardless of 5K. Screw the principal. He is beating you by keeping you in the game, and forget any bruising on his end that conveys he doesn't enjoy this. People capable of his behavior love it when their victims respond like you have. You know how Freddy Krueger just gets stronger the more afraid you are? You feed a narcissist a similar way, except with your anger and hurt. And in this situation, your actions have unfairly punished your husband for the crimes of a man from your past. Not intentionally, of course, but think about it. You haven't just taken money that's his as much as yours. Think of the time, energy, and attention you spent on your ex that should have gone toward your relationship with your husband. It's like you're having an emotional fear, except with rage. Which might be, no, I'm convinced is even worse. Terrible people who hurt us have a way of dragging us down with them, and they enjoy it. Perhaps it's the only form of real connection they're capable of. Who knows? But you being driven mad and sacrificing the best parts of your life and yourself because you can't let that go, it's like pina coladas on the beach at sunset for your ex. Don't let this asshole con you into destroying your relationship with your husband, who's probably 20 times the man your ex is. Wrap this legal nonsense up right now. Apologize to your husband. Tell him you'll go to therapy, at the very least a narcissistic abuse support group, to heal from the wounds that drove you temporarily insane. Commit to that and ask him what you can do in the meantime to make it up to him and start repairing the marriage. You're the asshole, but even bigger assholes who deeply wound us have that effect on us. The good news is you can still wake up. Yup, the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference. Precisely. Agreed. But we only have one side of the story here. See OP's behavior with her current husband and how any disagreement leads to screaming arguments and even chucking him out. That's not an equal relationship. Once you assess OP's behavior, you start to see definite narcissist behavior and basic control and coercion issues. So then you have to apply a filter to her story about her ex. He abused her company finances, clearly not for much, but she's abused their shared finances to the tune of $45K. OP needs therapy for the situation and her behavior. Yeah, this is all what I thought of too. I just got out of a relationship with a woman who had recently gotten out of one with someone she claimed was emotionally abusive. I have never been more emotionally abused, gaslit, manipulated, and also blamed for all of those behaviors myself. I started actually losing my mom before questioning if she was the emotionally abusive narcissist and her ex-BF's biggest act of abuse was just leaving. It does happen. Every single abuser I've ever encountered made more projections than an AMC 16. But I've also seen many victims become like their abusers because they can't walk away. I figured since I've never met her, I'd give her the benefit of the doubt and approach her from this angle. You're the asshole. She's gonna find she's much happier when she lets go of her ex, stops caring and cuts him completely out of her life, aside from the stuff to do with kids. Edit, I do think OP is the asshole for using her hub's money in her battle. Not the asshole, just stupid. It sounds like maybe your business failed because you can't make good decisions. You don't spend $5,000 to maybe get $5,000. You sure as shit don't spend $45,000 to try and get $5,000. That's like lighting $40,000 on fire. That's a college education or cards for your children. Pay a therapist to get over this and move on. LOL, principal. The ex is still winning against her and she can't see it. You're the asshole. You spent $45,000 of not only your money but your husband's money, chasing your ex for $5K? For how long? I'm surprised your husband didn't call this off long ago. In fact, I'm surprised he's still with you. I agree with that projection part because she called her ex vindictive, but when I looked up the definition of it, the OP fits that. You threw away $45K to try and win back $5K. Who's the narcissist here? Let's get on to the next story. Mother asked for telling my wife I hate her new job. My wife, 37F, and I, 38M, have been married for 12 years and have 3 kids, 10, 8, and 6. During the pandemic, my wife's job allowed her to switch to 100% work from home. They never required her to go back to the office because her productivity actually increased, so there was no need. It made things easier for us too. I dropped the kids off at the school/daycare in the morning and she picked them up in the afternoon. She was able to keep up with a few things around the house during the day. We saved on gas and car maintenance, etc. A few months ago, she was contacted by a recruiter about a job. It would be a nice step up in her career path as well as a boost in pay. But there were drawbacks. The company had no work from home policy and would require her to work in the office. This was apparently non-negotiable. It would also be a 45-minute commute for her. We talked it over a lot and I expressed my concerns about how this would impact our daily lives. I told her that I don't necessarily think that the bump in pay is worth the major changes to our daily lives. Not to mention the stress that a long commute can have on people and that could impact their mood and how they interact at home. She assured me that everything would be fine and that we would adjust as a family and soon the new routine would just become our new normal. I told her that I would never tell her not to take the job, but I just don't know if it is worth the changes that it's going to bring. Ultimately, the decision was hers and she accepted the new job. She's been there for about 10 weeks now. To say it has been an adjustment is an understatement. She wakes up and leaves before the kids even get up. She'll help get a few things ready for them before she goes, but the entire morning kid routine is on me. I also do both drop off and pick up for all the kids too. Evenings have been a huge mess because I get home and try to get the kids distracted while I start dinner. When my wife gets home, she is usually stressed from the drive. Her commute has turned into over an hour due to construction and traffic, and takes 15 minutes for herself to calm down before eating alone. Then after dinner, she's going to bed earlier because she has to wake up earlier. I told her I feel her new job has put an unfair amount of household and childcare duties on me and that she is being far less present in our lives when she's home. She told me that we just need to give her more time to adjust and things will get easier. I told her 10 weeks is a pretty good adjustment period and I hate it so far. She told me I'm being an unsupportive jerk and I need to give it more time. Edit. I don't have the emotional bandwidth right now to deal with the huge amount of sexist BS I'm getting here. Those kind of responses are why men don't open up when they feel exactly like I do right now and just bottle this up. I have to get ready to pick up my kids. They're getting Happy Meals tonight because fuck it. Although the post was labeled "Everyone Sucks," I don't think the OP is the asshole because 2.5 months is enough of an adjustment and it's not working for anybody. The wife is less present in her husband's life and the children's lives. She's more stressed out because of work, and the husband has to take on more of a burden with the household responsibilities and the childcare responsibilities. Yet, she's calling him a jerk because he doesn't like it. It's been 2.5 months of this. I don't think he's the asshole for that. I think that's reasonable to say. I think it's just as he says, that it's a whole bunch of sexist BS in the comments. Mind you, I haven't read the comments yet, so we're gonna see. Let's read the comments right now. Everyone sucks here. You two are talking past each other. You say you wanted to come up with solutions, but you don't suggest any actual solutions. She was dismissive of your concerns and also didn't suggest any solutions. She's making more money. Use that to outsource some of this stuff. As a general matter, I don't think it's fair to expect that over the course of a lifetime, your spouse's career will never require you to pick up the slack at home. These things tend to shift. She handled more stuff while she was work from home. Now it's your turn. If it's unsustainable for you, then absolutely talk about solutions. But I hate it is not a solution. You say you wanted to come up with solutions, but you don't suggest any actual solutions. I did offer solutions, but a 3,000 character limit prevents me from including every single aspect of this. Some of my solutions were doing meal prep on weekends so dinner time is easier, or possibly ordering meal kits. Those were things we agreed on. But others, like me telling her she needs to find a way to be more present in our daily lives because me and the kids feel like we never see her, were met with more hostility from her. I get your point, but that's not a solution, only a complaint. Maybe something like have a fixed time for her to recover when she comes home and a fixed time to spend with the family would be a better suggestion. Make some new family traditions, maybe even something silly like a loving phrase you say to each other that signifies her having fully arrived at home. I'm sure she doesn't want you and the kids to feel neglected, so if her reaction is negative, it's about the delivery. This is your chance to find creative solutions. Who knows, maybe you have a mandatory, to a degree, cuddle time every day, and maybe your kids will remember that fondly forever. I understand you're frustrated with the situation, but this can either be a tough time in your family relationships, or it can be the start of something new with the potential for being an awesome thing. It's up to the both of you for what it ends up being. You came up with good solutions, but this is all on his wife at this point. Hope he told her him and the kids feel like she's not present in their lives anymore, and that's the truth. They were met with even more hostility. She's not listening, and she's the one that needs to change. Let's get on to the last story. Am I the asshole for telling my stepsister it's not my fault my dad doesn't love her? My 24F dad is married to a woman I'll call Melissa, and they've been married for 13 years. Melissa has a daughter, Sarah, 25. I didn't live with my dad full-time growing up. My parents had shared custody, but it was pretty flexible, so I'd spend on average 2 nights there a week, and my dad would normally take me to dinner one evening a week. I have never had much of a relationship with Melissa, but we've always been friendly. Sarah, on the other hand, has always been jealous of me and my relationship with my dad. Anything I was doing, she wanted to do. Anywhere I was going with my dad, she wanted to come. My dad always handled it, but I was always aware that she was clearly unhappy when I was around. My dad and I spoke about this more than once, and my dad expressed that he found Sarah always expecting things from him a bit stressful, and that he had brought it up with Melissa, but it didn't seem to help. I haven't seen Sarah much in the last few years since I moved away, but I recently got engaged, so my fiance and I had dinner with my dad, Melissa, Sarah, and her fiance to celebrate. My dad made a toast and said he'd like to pay for the wedding. He then presented us with a check. I thanked him, but said we would be paying for the wedding ourselves. My dad said he wanted to contribute to our lives in some way, and my fiance suggested we could put the money into a trust for our future child. We then continued on with the dinner. The next day I got a call from Sarah, who said I should split the money my dad gave me for the wedding with her. I was confused and asked why, and Sarah said that my dad is a father figure to both of us. I told her if my dad wanted to give her money, he would have, and that it has nothing to do with me. Sarah started getting mad and said that I should share the money since I didn't need it. She swore at me, called me mean, spoiled, a gold digger, all sorts. She said it was my fault she never had a dad and I need to share the money, and it meant my dad is her dad too. I was just getting so annoyed and said, it's not my fault he doesn't love you. If you want money from him, ask him, and hung up on her. I guess she did ask him because my dad called and got mad at me for blowing up on her, saying I didn't have to be that harsh with her. He said it's caused a lot of drama between him and Melissa and Sarah. He said I didn't have to respond to Sarah's golden, and maybe that's true, but I don't think I'm the asshole for saying what he was too scared to. Especially when I was being blamed for something that has nothing to do with me. Not the asshole, in my opinion. How do you have the audacity to call someone up the day after the little get together to celebrate someone's engagement, and you demand that they split half the money that was a gift to them? And the part that gets me is Sarah blaming OP for not having a dad, and that OP's dad is her dad too. Like, that's just ridiculous. Usually we have the opposite, where it's a step parent trying to force their way into being the parental figure to the kid. But here we have the stepchild demanding that the step sibling sees their parent as the step sibling's parent. We got the reversal over here. Let's read some comments. Not the asshole. Your stepsis clearly has some demons that are no one's responsibility but hers. I hope for the sake of her fiance and future children that she deals with them. I'm also amused she called you a gold digger when she was the one who called you up and demanded you give her money. As for your father's troubles, there is something that he should have nipped in the bud a long time ago. I don't know where Sarah's father is or if he's alive or in her life, but it was never realistic on her part to expect your father to take his place, and that should have been made clear to her from the beginning. Maybe she should have been in therapy or something. Not the asshole. He knows how your stepsister would react given the history, and yet still he chose to give you a check right in front of her at the dinner. He could have done it when he had a moment alone with you or something. Could have invited you two out for coffee or something. He set her off, not you, and he can take responsibility for it for once. That's my thoughts too. He knew this would cause problems. He was already having issues with the way he treats Sarah, but decided to give a check publicly? That makes no sense. Honestly, your dad is the asshole for making a big deal of presenting you with a check in front of everyone. That was a total setup for you and Sarah, given your history in a very self-aggrandizing way to go about what is otherwise a lovely and generous gesture. As between you and Sarah, I guess I'd say you're not the asshole, only because she was so far out of line that I can understand why you pushed back. But it was still a really cruel thing to say. I mean, Sarah literally said that OP is the reason that she doesn't have a dad. Like, what the fuck does that mean? It's your fault that your dad wasn't being a father to you and not to me. The asshole in this story is your dad. Your dad obviously never stepped into the father role for Sarah, and she has seen the difference between how he treats you and how he treats her. Also, if he never intended to give money towards her wedding, it was a low blow to announce in front of her and her fiance that he wanted to pay for your entire wedding. He could have told you that away from her, not throw it in her face. You're not the asshole, but I would have a discussion with your dad. What do you mean by talk to him? I mean, let him know that what he did was wrong. Say to him, I think it really hurt Sarah that you offered to pay for my entire wedding in front of her when you offered her nothing. That was a conversation that should have been held in private. He knows it hurt her. Now that he's been confronted with it, I'm not planning to get involved in this issue more than I already unwillingly have been. There is a reason I'm not close to any of these people. So he had no inkling that this would upset her until he was explicitly told. He hasn't been paying attention for over a decade then. He really shouldn't have married a woman with a young child who didn't have any other father figure if he didn't want to be one. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but nothing trumps his compulsion to do what he wants when he wants. Her feelings were irrelevant to him until they became inconvenient. Your dad kinda sucks, huh? So you agree that your dad is an asshole? Oh, he definitely knows, and your dad is an asshole here. Also, Sarah is completely reasonable wanting your dad to love her like that. Why? Because your dad has been with her mom since she was 12. You should have stuck up for Sarah. You might actually make a friend out of your sister if you stuck up for her. Your dad is an idiot for doing that in front of everyone. I don't know if he knows, and I don't really care if he knows. This whole thing had nothing to do with me before Sarah's phone call, and I wish it had stayed that way. Stuck up for her, how and why? Firstly, she isn't my sister. Second, I am not part of the narrative between her and my dad, nor do I wish to be. It goes on more than that, and the next comment just came for OP calling her an asshole just because she doesn't feel that she has to stick up for her stepsister, and is saying why, because she's a human being as well. And that's just ridiculous. They're calling her an asshole because she doesn't feel obligated to stick up for someone that she doesn't even really like that. Calling her OP's sister, they're not related. But that's gonna be all for this video. Let me know what you think down below. Like, comment, subscribe. I will be back with more later. She was dismissive of your concerns and also didn't bring